Number one is proximity to the border. And here at Kibbutz Misgav, the border between Israel and Lebanon is the fence you drove up alongside. Everything on the other side of the fence is Lebanon. Everything in front of you is Lebanon. The second thing that makes us unique is that we share our kibbutz with the Israeli army. I don't know if any of you paid attention to all the antennae that are around here, everything, it's all military. And we have some armed soldiers that live here, and their job is to protect the military installation, not necessarily the kibbutz. Every kibbutz in Moshav has its own home guard. We're all armed, carry weapons at all times. We train with the army. Most of us are combat veterans, and to a certain extent, this is Texas. You come in here, you get shot. And we don't play games. That's not Canada over there. And these guys want us dead. So we don't play games. Our kibbutz is here. That's the second thing. The third thing is this beautiful panoramic view. And this is the only place in Israel where simultaneously on a clear day, which unfortunately is not today, and I refuse all responsibility for the visibility. It's got nothing to do with me. This is the only place in Israel where simultaneously we can see Syria, Israel, Lebanon, and the Mediterranean. Out there, under the clouds, is the Mediterranean. You can't see it because of the clouds, but it's here on the map, so it must be there. Okay? We are directly opposite. This is Tyre. It's a biblical city. Tyre. And it still functions. It's still a port. Unfortunately, it belongs to the Hezbollah, so it doesn't help us much. But this is here, and if you go straight across, we're here on the mountain. Okay? So from the horizon to here, that's all Lebanon. Behind us, around us, and in front of us. In the village down here, this is all Lebanon. I'll tell you more about this area. The mountains on that side that are in the clouds, you can't see the summit. Those mountains are that's called the Hermon, and that's Syria. And Israel is the beautiful green cultivated valley down below in the middle. Okay, so where it's green, it's Israel, and where it's not, it's not. So we have Syria, Israel, Lebanon, and the Mediterranean, and this is the only place where on a clear day we can see it all. The fourth thing that makes us unique is distances. And from where we're sitting, we are 50 miles from Haifa, and we're 50 miles from Damascus, capital of Syria. We are 150 miles from Tel Aviv, and 150 miles from Beirut. So we're in the middle of the Middle East here, and only we can say that. And those are the four things that make us unique. Our kibbutz is here from 1945. We're a small kibbutz. Not everybody wants to live at the end of the world, where the road stops and you're right in front of your neighbors. And so we're a small kibbutz. Today we have close to 300 people living here. We have 75 members. We have 40 some odd residents, people who live here for the quality of life, raise their children here. And we have 130 students from the university down below Tel Chai. Did you come up from Kiryat Shmona and up? Okay, so that down below there's that university. It's a subsidiary of the Haifa University. Now, Haifa is like MIT. That's physics, mathematics, chemistry, all the scientific ologies. And Tel Chai is the artsy craftsy part and the non-scientific ologies. There's thousands of students study there from all over Israel. What makes it unique is that there's no dormitories. And that's because of our friendly neighbors. They like to bomb the place occasionally, and and there would be raids and everything else. There would be all kinds of trouble, and we don't put all our eggs in one basket. So there's no dormitory. Students are not allowed to live on campus, and they're scattered all around, and they're protected by the various kibbutzim and moshavim. As I said, we all have our own home guard, and we've never lost a student. So that's a pretty good record, and everybody's safe here. That's our population. There are three main sources of income on the kibbutz. Number one, obviously, is agriculture. That's what a kibbutz is all about. Most of our agriculture is down below in the Chula Valley, and we grow cotton, wheat, sweet corn, sunflower seeds for the cooking oil, industrial tomatoes for ketchup and pizza. We have fish in our fish ponds. We have avocados. Coming up here, I'm sure you noticed the beautiful vineyards. We're in a co-op, international quality wines. And we have the largest chicken coop in the Galilee. Yeah, well, that's very important because most of the meat that you're going to eat in Israel is made up of turkey or chicken. Beef and lamb are very expensive because we don't have grazing land. So what they do is take the chickens and the turkeys and they chop it up and put in spices, and you think you're eating salami. Yeah, but it's all chickens in it. Anyway, that's our big money maker. We initially wanted to have free-range chickens, but then they would run into Lebanon, and that's no good for our business. So we had to build these big buildings, and they run around on the floor, and they're horrible. Anyway. Our second source of income are the 130 students. You have to remember that in agriculture, anywhere in the world, there's a cash flow problem. You put the seed in the ground till you harvest the crop, there's bills to pay. That's anywhere. And the fact that we have 130 students paying monthly rents is very good for our cash flow, so we love our students. The second reason is social. In this part of Israel, basically, there's only two ways to make a living, and that's agriculture and tourism. Our children finish high school. They do 3 to 5 years in the army. Then they do 4 to 5 years university. Okay, that's 9 years. They come back home. He doesn't want to sell ice cream to tourists. With the advancements in modern technology and agriculture, we don't need all those people in the fields. So over 80% of our kids, when they come back, they have no way of making a living on the kibbutz. They have to go where the jobs are, where the money is. So we have a demographic hole. We have young people, and we have old people, and we don't have any middle people. And the middle people are filled in very nicely by the 130 students. And remember, our students are older than in the States because they've done 3 to 5 years Army first. So our freshmen are 21, 22. Some of them are combat veterans. These are not kiddies out of high school. These are young adults, and they get along very well in our social community, and we love them. So we love our students on the two levels. Our third source of income are you guys, tourism. And this is relatively new for us. It's only 10 years old. And that's because I don't know how aware you are of the history here in the area, but the Israeli army occupied this part of South Lebanon until the year 2000, from 1982 until 2000. In the year 2000, we came back to the borders, and the vacuum was filled in by the Hezbollah. Now, I don't know how much you know about the Hezbollah, but they're not Zionists. And they don't like anybody very much. And in this part of the world, you don't like somebody, you shoot at them. That's the way it is here. And so they shot at us, and you couldn't come here because the Israeli government does not invite tourists to come get shot at. That's not part of the Israel experience. And so you couldn't come here. In 2006, we had what was called the Second Lebanon War. It's kind of a misnomer because it was actually against the Hezbollah, it wasn't against Lebanon. In any case, that lasted for 34 days, and we beat them up, and they went crying to the United Nothings asking for a ceasefire. And we're Jews and nice people, so we gave them a ceasefire. And to their credit, they've maintained a ceasefire here for 10 years now. Nobody's shooting. This is the quietest border in Israel. And that's wonderful. And it's not because they're Zionists or they're afraid of us. They have their own problems. In the beginning, it was taking over Lebanon. You need to understand that Lebanon is no longer a Christian country. There was a 16-year civil war, and the Christians got ousted. There's less than 10% Christians in Lebanon. They live all over, Canada, United States, France, Australia, all over, less than 10%. In this area here in the south, they used to be 50%. Today, they're only 3%. And they can't ring the church bells because that gets Allah upset. He gets offended by all kinds of things, and he tells the Hezbollah, and you have to do what the Hezbollah says. Now understand that the Hezbollah are Shiites as opposed to ISIL, that's Sunnis. All of their support comes from Iran. There's no industry here. There's virtually no agriculture. All of the money, these are nice homes, these are not hovels, everything comes from Iran. And they support Iran, and they support the Shiite jihad movement. And their two biggest enemies are the United States and Israel. Unlike ISIS, that wants the Middle East and Europe. They want to pay him back for the Crusades, believe it or not. So that's the way they divided it up. And besides that, they have their own internal civil war between the Sunnis and the Shiites. Now, the Hezbollah are Shiites that are surrounded by Sunnis. And they're fighting for their lives. There's no mercy in this part of the world. And so they really don't have the wherewithal to mess around with us. Their soldiers are fighting. These are their homes. These are the people here that live here are not the soldiers. These are the guys that run the infrastructure of the country, the schools, the hospitals, the electricity. There's no Lebanon here. This is Hezbollah land. It's their sons that are in the army. So there's no point in messing with Israel because we'll blow up their homes and they won't have a home to come home to. So they're leaving us alone, which is wonderful. I support both sides. I don't care who wins and they can fight for the next 1,000 years. As long as they're shooting at each other, they're not shooting at me, and that's good. I'll tell you a little bit later about myself, but I can tell you right now, I'm not a humanitarian. There's only 3 things in this world that concern me, that I'm interested in, that I'm ready to do anything. That's the Jewish people, the state of Israel, and my family and friends. I personally don't care about the rest of the world. People have to be responsible for their actions. They make their bed, let them lie in it. And mercy has been drummed out of me in that respect. And may God forgive me for that, but I'm telling you, my life's experiences and the way I feel about it. I care about the Jewish people, the state of Israel, and my family and friends. I don't care about the rest of the world. Couldn't care less. Couldn't care less. Nobody's cared about me for 2,000 years. I don't feel any responsibility for anybody else. That's the boss's job, not my job. Okay. Let me give you a little edited autobiography. My name is Aryeh Ben-Yakov, and I was born in 1940 in Cleveland, Ohio. And in 1961, at the age of 21, I said goodbye to my family and I came to Israel. And I've been here ever since. In 62, I joined the Israeli army. I was in the paratroopers in the airborne. Got discharged in 65 from active service. Toured around, found my mountaintop. I've been here ever since. Beautiful place to live. I love it. And my working life, I'm a farmer. And I worked in the field crops down below because I don't like chickens and I don't like fish unless they're on my plate. Working with them is terrible. As a paratrooper, I have participated frontline combat in four and a half wars in Israel. And I was with the paratroopers in the liberation of Jerusalem in 1967. Then they took us to Syria and finished that off there. And the second war was called the War of Attrition, and that was against Jordan and the Palestinian terrorists and the Egyptians in the Sinai. 1973, the Yom Kippur War, I was in the first wave of assault boats across the Suez Canal into Egypt. We got 101 kilometers from Cairo, and the government stopped us again, which is very good because what am I going to do with Cairo? There's more people in Cairo than in all of Israel. 1982 was the first Lebanon war, and we went in there and kicked out the Palestinian terrorists that had been shooting at us for 12 years. These are some of their homemade Katyusha rockets. We brought them up here as souvenirs so our children could see what was shooting at them for 12 years. Guys, we had 24,000 rocket attacks in this area. Anyway, we got up to the environs of Beirut, and then the government stopped us again, which is good because we don't need Beirut. And in 2006, the Second Lebanon War, our neighbors know that we have an army base here, so our kibbutz was bombarded for 34 days, 24/7. We did not evacuate. Nobody gets us off the mountain. Women and children were in bunkers and air raid shelters. Thank God nobody got hurt, nobody got killed. We stood a guard ambush at night. Twice the Hezbollah was stupid enough to send troops to try to get in here, and they didn't get in, they didn't get home, and they didn't try the third time. You look down there in those villages, you'll notice there's no glass in their windows. It's all a facade, everything here. People live here, but everything here is built for military. There's tunnels inside linking back and forth. There's no glass in their windows. They have wooden shutters. They have the screens for the flies and mosquitoes. But basically, these are all firing positions. The homes that are incomplete on purpose because they're observation points and firing points, and they shoot from there. They're part of the jihad movement, and the nice house is totally irrelevant to them. Okay, now, impress upon you guys a few things that are important. People, we don't hate anybody. I've been shot at hundreds of times, and I've buried good friends, and I've killed people, and I'm telling you that I don't hate anybody. Israel doesn't hate anybody. We don't have enemies. There are people that have made us their enemies. We don't have enemies. Judaism doesn't teach hate. That's their bag. That's why they're never going to win. Hate is never going to win. But I'm telling you that we are 100% defensive. The Hezbollah does not have patrol roads. We have to have patrol roads. The Palestinians don't have patrol roads. We have to have patrol roads because they reserve the right to attack us whenever they feel like it. We don't attack unless we've been attacked, and they know it. So they don't have to worry about having patrol roads. That's the way it is. Israel is 100% defensive. Everything else you've heard, as far as I'm concerned, is anti-Israel, anti-Semitic propaganda, and it's all lies. We don't attack anybody unless we're attacked. We did not do the attacking in 1948. Palestinians could have had a state. Instead, they said there's not going to be a Jewish state. You play poker, you go all in, you lose. What are you bitching for 70 years? For what? Be responsible for your actions. Nobody told them to make war on us. We didn't even have an army. Israel is 100% defensive. Don't mess with us, and everything's fine. Mess with us, we're going to We're badass. I know that's bad language and it sounds very aggressive, but I have to tell you that we're nice people living in a bad neighborhood, and if you don't know how to behave around here, you're going to be somebody's lunch. These people look on killing as a good thing. It's a mitzvah. So you better be prepared. And you need to understand that the difference between us here in Israel and Jewish people you might know back in America, there's a big difference. We're not victims. We're not sheep. You mess with us, we're going to bust your ass. We're going to hurt you. We're done being victims. We're done being scapegoats. We are a free people in our land. We own it. We bought it. We own it. We live on it. We defend it. Don't mess with us. We've been surviving for 4,000 years. We know how to do that. So that's what I want to tell you. Leave us alone. Everything's fine. God bless. Mess with us, we don't take crap from anybody. Okay. I'm kind of done. You guys have any questions? You know, you've left your home, you've come to Israel, you've been all over. Oh, yes, I do have something else to tell you. Guys, we're not a third world country. And as isolated as we may appear, nobody's isolated in Israel. We all have electricity, we all have internet, we all have communications. We have something that you don't have in America. There is nowhere in Israel where you won't get a cell phone signal. That's important. When a car breaks down, you have a medical emergency, you're lost, God forbid, whatever. I don't care where you are. In the middle of the mountains, down in the desert, in the Negev, I don't care where you are in Israel, you're going to get a cell phone signal. You can't say that about America. And I mean this, we're not a third world country. There's nothing you have in America that we don't have here except Chipotle and Dunkin' Donuts. We have everything here. And we don't need care packages, and we don't need anything from anyone. We appreciate the help we get from the Jews of the world and from some states in the world, like the United States. We appreciate that. We can live without it. Our success is not dependent on anybody, us and God. Other than that, we're free in our country. And we're not a third world country. And as soon as the world realizes that, it'll be better for everybody. Okay, now I'm done. So ask me anything you want about anything, think and why. So please ask me anything you want about anything. Go ahead.
So what's your thought on the 67 war? Was it defensive and...
Absolutely. They massed their armies and they opened fire and they attacked. We asked them not to. We told them not to. They did it anyway, so, you know. Look, in 67, we fired the first shot. But that's irrelevant because in international law, there's something called a casus belli. And that means a reason for war. What that means is, if I say to you, if you cross that line, I will assume that that's an act of war, that you're attacking me. Okay, I tell you that. If you cross that line, as far as I'm concerned, you've made war on me. You've declared war on me. And you go ahead and cross the line. So I shoot you. So on the one hand, I shot the first shot. But legally, you declared war on me. That's what a casus belli is. And that's what happened in 67. We told the Egyptians, we told the Syrians, we told the Jordanians, don't do this, don't do that. We will regard that as an act of war. And they did it. So we hit them. I don't have any guilt feelings about that. They destroyed us. We're not going to let that happen. So I'm glad we had this, I'm glad we won. And had Jordan not attacked us, Jordan is Palestine. Jordan had not attacked us, there wouldn't be this problem. And if we were Jews, there wouldn't be a Palestinian problem. If we were Russians or Chinese or even Americans, guys, the Palestinians are nothing. If our government turned the army loose, there's no Palestinian problem in 2 weeks. We have to put things in proper proportions. It's only because we're Jewish people and we're not running around here trying to kill people that allows the Palestinians and these guys. But if the government turned the army loose, there wouldn't be a problem here in this part of the Middle East. A couple of weeks it'd be finished. You guys don't understand. You have to understand that. Israel is the superpower in the Middle East. Russia checks up with us. America checks up with us. Saudi Arabia checks up with us. Egypt checks up with us. That's the truth of it. You don't mess around with us. Yeah. Okay, so any more questions, please? Yeah, go ahead.
What would be your ideal thought about how to make things not so hard for Israel, and what would be the solution for you? What would you?
They have to accept our presence here. This is ours. That's all. They made war. They're the ones who have to make peace. I don't bargain with my enemies. There's nothing. It's not incumbent on me to make peace with people who've made war on me. I don't care. They want to make war again. We'll beat them up again. It's not incumbent on me. They have to want peace. They don't want peace. If they wanted peace, they could have had it a long time ago. So you're asking the wrong person the wrong question. We're not afraid of them. We're not intimidated by them. They want to make war on us. We'll whip their ass again. No problem. It's not incumbent on me to ask them to have peace. They made war. They want to destroy us. They have to change their frame of mind. Until that happens, I keep my eyes on the target. I keep my powder dry. And I don't take crap from anybody. It's not incumbent on me to ask them for peace. I couldn't care less. But that's me. I've been through 4 wars. I am not afraid of them. And I don't understand why I have to make peace with them. Why should I care about their demands? They made war on me. They've been making war on me for 100 years. We're still at war. Why should I care about their demands? They're the losers. I don't care. Let them make demands all they want. I'm the boss here. They don't like it. Tough. It's the way it is. It is what it is. The world, who says the world is fair? You're going to give America back to the Indians? You're going to give Texas and California back to Mexico? What are you talking to me? There was never a Palestinian state. They never had their independence. There was never a government. It was a British mandate. Jews were Palestinians. I don't owe them anything. They never owned anything. There was never a parliament. They never had votes. Well, it's Palestinian land. That's baloney. Until 1967, that was Jordan. Jordanians revoked their citizenship, made them stateless. Until then, they were Jordanians. Don't come to me. I don't have to solve their problems. You can accept what I'm saying or not, but I'm telling you that that's the way it is, and that's fact. They made war on me. It's not the other way around. And I'm the winner. Why should I give in to their demands? I told you, I'm not a Christian. I don't love my enemies. I don't turn the other cheek. We've been kicked around for 2,000 years. It's enough. Go ahead.
There was a question.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'm narrowing the focus a little bit
Okay.
to the kibbutz.
Yeah.
How do you see this place in the next 20 or 30 years?
I hope I live that long.
Well,
And I can tell you.
I mean, even beyond our lifetimes.
I don't know. I'm not a prophet. I believe in God, and I believe He wants us here. And after I die, somebody else will come here and talk to you people. Kibbutz will be here. We're not going anywhere.
I was thinking more of what you said about the children, when they're educated, need to find jobs elsewhere.
Yeah.
So
So when jobs open up here, a lot of them come back. Besides, we're making new kids. Nothing is stagnant. When you're stagnant, you're dead. So everything's in motion. I'm not worried. Worry doesn't do any good. It doesn't change reality.
do you get
I'm
new-
hopeful.
Sorry. Do you get new families moving here? Or?
Some, occasionally,
Yeah.
yeah. They have to be self-sufficient economically. There's a lot of good things about the electronic age. Doesn't matter where your physical body is. You can run a business from up here in the mountains. You can video chats and all that kind of stuff. You don't have to leave. You don't have to leave your home, basically. So all those kind of things. There's lots of plans in the pipeline in the region and with the government. Nanotechnology, all kinds of things. We'll manage. Yes, and then yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so basically in your life in the kibbutz, you have your day jobs, but if anything happens, you're ready and, I mean,
Yeah.
ready to drop everything and then
Yeah,
you
everybody
go on.
has weapons.
And everybody feels that. That's
Well, of course.
Okay, I know.
Yeah,
I
yes.
know you say of course, but again, that's really foreign to me. So
Yeah,
I'm trying to understand how this,
Yeah,
this
look,
how this works and feels. And,
we protect ourselves.
yeah.
What that does, it helps the Israeli army. It prevents them from having to send troops to different places. They can stay together and do their external job. Our kibbutz and all the kibbutzim here defend from the fence, the perimeter fence, internally. Now, if our neighbors are capable of organizing hundreds of people to come at the kibbutz, the army would take care of them outside. Do you understand what I'm saying? We're here to protect sneaky stuff inside the kibbutz. That's all. I don't have any authority
Outside the kibbutz.
outside the kibbutz. We don't have machine guns. We don't have mortars. We don't have any way whatsoever to attack our neighbors.
Okay.
We have pistols, rifles, and grenades. You leave us alone, we'll leave you alone. You try to get in here, we'll kill you. Simple. Yeah.
What's your source of information with respect to who lives in these houses and why they're built the way they are?
Israeli army. We get a briefing every month.
Okay.
Of course, they tell us what they want to tell us.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's things going on they don't tell us. And if I asked them, I wouldn't believe the answer anyway. So, but we're informed because we're in the loop here. The army's running all over the place. In fact, we rely on them. Like in the winter, it snows. So who clears the roads? The army. Yeah. Otherwise, I could be stuck up here for 2 weeks and you can't get out. So, the army's good. You know? But yeah.
So I'm just,
Okay, doesn't matter.
oh, you have a question? Go ahead, Alex. I'll remember my question.
She'll remember. Go ahead.
Okay. So we were told coming up here that the kibbutz and all the kibbutzim around here are a really important part of the Zionist project.
Yeah.
And I guess what I want to know is, what's left to do with the Zionist project in terms of like broader things or localized?
Maintenance,
Okay.
to keep it, develop it. There isn't anything more. We in Israel and on our kibbutz, we have no expansion thoughts.
Right.
So our job is maintenance. Grow better crops, make more money, have more people. That's it. Once you've built something, you have to take care of it. You leave it alone, it falls apart. Your question.
So, I've been coming here for many years now, and I'm just curious about and you've lived here for so many years,
Yeah.
with, Lebanon dealing with internal problems, the Syrian civil war on your border, and does that, you touched on it earlier, I mean, does that create a sense for you that, okay, they now have so many problems that they're distracted and dealing with themselves, or is that a little bit hard to imagine all of your all this ISIS and everything along your borders, so that there's like more mayhem and disorder, or is that helpful for you because it's keeping them? Their
It's
attention
helpful
off
for
of
us.
you?
It's keeping them off of me. It's helpful for us. Doesn't mean that the Israeli army isn't paying attention to what's going on. We're not falling asleep. But it's quiet. This is the stablest place in the Middle East. Come to Israel. Nobody's gonna, it's the best place to be. For everybody, for Christians, Muslims, and Jews. Israel is the safest place in the Middle East. All this chaos going on around it doesn't affect us. Kihuzeh. That's what we say in Hebrew. It doesn't matter. As long as it's quiet. And we have our guys inside all over the place. We know what's going on around us. And so that's fine. We don't have a problem, seriously. Even ISIS has never said they're going to destroy Israel. It's the Shiites, that's Iran and the Hezbollah and the Palestinians. ISIS has never said they're going to have war with us. I told you, they're after Europe for the Crusades. They will have payback. They want their caliphate back. And during the crusading time, at 250 years, the Jews fought with the Arabs against the Crusaders. We have goodie points. And ISIS is not trying to get us. I'm not talking about Al-Qaeda and the Nusra Front and all this, but ISIS, al-Baghdadi, they're not talking about destroying Israel. They're not our main enemy, our main worry. Our main worry is the Shiites. Iran still today, 20 years, we're going to wipe out Israel. We'll see who's around in 20 years. Yes.
Regarding the kibbutzes and the land base and what you said about trying to maintain and have more people come, is there a limitation on land and ability to expand population-wise?
Yes, we can expand population-wise internally. As far as the land is concerned, Israel is unique in the extent that there is no private land. The land of Israel is owned by the Jewish people, allocated by the government. The 2,000 acres that I have was given to us, rented to us, by the Israeli government on condition that we farm. I can't turn it into a shopping mall. The land doesn't belong to the kibbutz or to the moshav. It belongs to the Jewish people, allocated by the Israeli government. There are no plans for expansion. So anything that I have to do, in the same 2,000 acres that we farm, we have to make sure that we're growing the right thing to make the most money out of each acre. The right plant, the right thing, the right usage of water, electricity. Growing our kibbutz internally, absolutely, as long as they have a way to make a living. Like I say, nanotechnology, we're not going to put factories here. And we're not going to poison it. It's too pristine. We're not going to put make chemicals and stuff in here. But as far as expanding, there are no plans for that. We have no desire whatsoever for that. We're happy with the Jordan River. We signed a peace treaty with Jordan. We're not going to break that. There's no Palestine. There's Israel and Jordan. You put that together, that's the British mandate of Palestine. There's no, they changed the name to Jordan. They can change it back to Palestine. I don't care. But that's it. We're happy. We don't want Egypt and we don't want Jordan. We're happy. We have enough. We have a government in exile, except it wasn't in exile, it was here. And they allocated the land. It's called the Jewish National Fund. And they owned the land. And wherever we owned the land, they said, okay, go settle it. In this part of the world, possession is 10/10 of the law. Okay, if you can't sit there and be there and defend it, who cares about your piece of paper? Okay. This is the Wild West here. Nobody gives a damn about your deed. I mean, we bought the land legally and all that for the international. So nobody can say we stole the land. But as far as the people here are concerned and everything around here and all these crazy governments, possession is 10/10 of the law. They don't care about your piece of paper. If we weren't here, this would be Lebanon. Yeah.
I'm interested in the tourists who come here, and I want to know, are there Jewish tour groups that come here
Yes.
that disagree with your position?
Sure. So what?
And what is their,
No.
what is the discourse in that
The
disagreement?
discourse is that they feel that if we give the Palestinians what they want, they're going to let us alone. Give them what they want. I know better. They're not going to leave us alone. They've sworn that they're going to destroy the state of Israel. So they're not, whatever I give them, they're going to take that and say, okay, now we want the rest. They're not going to go away. So why give them? That's my feeling. They think that by giving in to the bully's going to let you alone. I know better. Bully's just going to want more. So you stop them where it is. That's it. You're not getting anything. You want peace? I'll give you peace. You come with demands? Go home. I don't care about your demands. I'm not afraid of you. You want to make an intifada? Great. I'll kick your ass in a week. That's be the end of it. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's people in Israel that also think that way. They don't bother me. Because they live here and their lives are in the same boat as me. Because when the missile comes, the missile doesn't differentiate, right? Jewish groups and non-Jewish groups that come from outside of Israel with an opinion about what we should do, that gets me mad. You don't know, you haven't experienced. Who are you to make an opinion, tell me what I'm supposed to do in my life? That gets me mad. To me, you don't have the right to have an opinion, to voice an opinion about what I'm doing with my country. It's mine. I live here. I know my neighbors. I've lived with them. I fought with them. Been in the army with them. Don't forget, 20% of Israel's population are Arabs. They're very good citizens. We love them. Well, I told you, we don't have any hate here. But don't tell me what to do. You can't get your own act together. Europe's falling apart, America's falling apart, everything's falling apart, and you're coming to tell me what I'm supposed to do. You know? Sorry. Yeah.
Does the fact that the PA now recognizes Israel in its charter?
PA doesn't recognize them. They just made it. They just made a deal. They just made a deal 2 years ago with Hamas that their charter says the destruction of Israel. So who's the boss here? The PLO Abu Mazen, Mahmoud Abbas, is alive today because we keep him alive. If we moved out of the West Bank, he'd be dead in a week. Hamas would take over. That's rhetoric. Don't believe in the words, believe in the actions. We offered Abu Mazen 98% of what he wanted, and he turned around and ran to Hamas and made a deal with them. He said, I can't represent only half of the Palestinian people. I have to. So he makes a deal with them. And they have religiously sworn to destroy Israel. He's the spokesman. He's the mouth. He don't control anything. We, Israel, army, has already prevented at least 3 assassination attempts on him. We're keeping him alive. That's for the politics of it. The truth is he'd be dead in a week. And we'd still have to fight him.
We might have time for one more question.
Yeah, one more, that's it, because, yes,
Well, I was
because it's
just
coming on to
wondering
Shabbat.
with your word bullying, and I was
Bullying?
bullying when you were saying that if you don't want to refer to them as Palestinians, that there are people
I can refer to them as Palestinians,
who
go
were
ahead.
in their homes and moved out.
When? In 48. That's wartime. Bad stuff happens. How many millions of Germans got kicked out of Czechoslovakia, had to go back from the Sudetenland? How many people, when they split up Pakistan and India? People move around. You make war, you lose, you leave. What's the problem? They could have stayed. We didn't. We only moved out the people that shot against us. The other people who sat quietly in their homes, they left because their leaders told them to leave. So they left. Said, well, we'll beat up the Jews, we'll come back in 3 weeks, you get your house back. Ask them, it's written, they'll tell you. They were told by their people to leave, to get out of the firing line. We beat the Jews, you come back. Didn't work out that way, tough. Life isn't fair.
So no opportunity for them to come back or want to come back like the Jewish people want to come back.
Exactly. This is my land. Let them go. They got 20 Muslim states. Let them go to where they want. To come back to me. I don't want them. Why do we have 20%? Because we didn't kick out all the Arabs. Those that didn't fight against us, stayed in their homes, are still there. They're in their homes, they're in their villages. That's why we have 20% of Israeli citizenship. Our Arabs do that. Well, I'm supposed to feel sorry for the people that ran out of their homes waiting for the Jews to get destroyed so they could come back? I told you, that's done. That's done. That's their problem. They have to be responsible for their actions. They made their bed, let them lie in it. It's not my responsibility. You can be humanitarian about it. God bless. I'm not. I'm worried about the state of Israel and the Jewish people and my family and friends, the rest of the world. I couldn't care less. Nobody cared about me for 2,000 years. Sorry. I've been shot at too many times to be nice. Okay, guys. I want you to come back again and visit. You're all invited. I promise we'll be here. And in the meantime, be good tourists, buy stuff. Spend some money. That's what we're doing here. Okay, guys, thank you. Shabbat Shalom.